What up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Pearl Daily. I do apologize for the delay. I actually went to the park today and I watched a movie. Okay. And it was very interesting. I saw this movie and I thought it was a really interesting movie for our culture. It was called When Harry Met Sally. And it was essentially about a woman who was friends with this guy for like 15 years and then married him at the end of the 15 years. But then he did a workaround and he banged her and then friend zoned her. It was kind of interesting. I think it's a popular movie though. I think it's a popular movie. Thank you guys for tuning in. I really, really appreciate it. Now I have a fitting sweatshirt today. Please excuse the dog hair. Future, she belongs to the streets. If you guys want this merch back, this was merch back in the day. And the reason I think that this was a good sweatshirt to have is because really, I think all women are whores. Pretty much every single woman has a whore. And recently, I was in a conversation with a right-wing e-girl. It'll come out this week. And it was all in good fun, and none of this is meant to attack any of you ladies personally, okay? I know it feels that way. But I am like autistic. Don't take it personal. It's me. I'm the problem. I'm basically this autistic level woman, and when I see things that aren't accurate, I just have to be like, wait. So I'm talking to this woman. And I just noticed how every right-wing e-girl I have on the show has to virtue signal for 20 minutes. They have to let me know how they are different. They are special. They're not like the others. And I thought to myself, is this what men feel like on dates? This has to be the most annoying thing ever when you're dating a woman and she has to prove to you that she's not a whore. Because me personally, I'm really not going to look into it too deeply until you start signaling purity. And I think the men are kind of that way too. Like if a woman's doing a good job and she just shuts up, men aren't really going to look into it to make sure you're not a whore. Yeah, and what you get now that some of the people in the chat are saying, Pearl, you're coping. Not all women are whores. You're a big coper. Well, to that I say, well, if your wife's not a whore for you, I got bad news for you fellas. I got bad news. So, anyways, these women, and I realize every single right-wing e-girl has to run cover for her reputation. Like, I was watching this one right-wing e-girl. And I just, I think 'cause I'm in the space, it's just a different breed. And this woman spends like 20 minutes of this video saying, well, I'm on the internet, but I'm only on the internet because the other women are on the internet. Shut up. Just be on the internet. Just be here. Take the hit. I take a lot of hit to my reputation in some way because I'm on the internet. I do. Just eat it. Just eat it. You're less desirable to men. It is what it is because you're super online. It is what it, just eat it. And another right-wing e-girl, divorced, right? And every time this right-wing, she came on the show the other day and it's 20 minutes. Well, my divorce was different. Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! And I catch myself doing it at times too. I'm not claiming to be perfect, but I just needed to rant for like an hour about how annoying this is. I just needed to talk about it because God, it's the most annoying thing ever. And I just wanted to know from the men, when you're on dates, is this what it feels like? And I see this everywhere. Once you see virtue signaling, you just can't unsee it. So a virtue signal, I got the definition. publicly expresses opinions or sentiment intended to demonstrate one's good character or social conscience or moral correctness of one's position on a particular issue. So this is what the tradcon, the right, the conservative sphere always does. They grift their religion. They're like, I am awesome, but here's my cross in the background. I'm a good person, I swear. I'm great. And even okay, so I'm gonna pull up a couple examples. Oh no, I need to log into my Twitter. My bad. The two-factor saves my ass because I get locked out of everything. All right, now I'm back. All right, excuse me. So I'm looking at Twitter today, and sometimes the virtue signaling is just too much for me. I'm like, I get it. You're a great person. We suck. But and a lot of times it gives you a weird feeling, right? Here we go.
Big sister to me.
So Brett Cooper made a video dedicated to talking about, to heavily insinuating how good of a person she is because she has these amazing morals and is not going to turn her back on any of the people around her. It's like, why don't you just not turn your back on this is the thing about women. It's like, why don't you just do the action? And then, let your actions speak for yourself. Again, it's not the same thing when you don't turn on people and then you put a camera in your face and you say, I am so awesome because I'm not turning on people. Why don't you not take the clout for it? Do you know what I mean? Like, why don't you guys just have the kids and not put them on the internet? Why don't you just have a child?
I will not stop being friends with Candace Owens, who has become like a big sister to me because the internet demands it. I will not attack Matt just because I no longer work with him or because the internet has decided to pile on to him for the 27th millionth time. I also will not pile on to attacks on Ben Shapiro's character because he was nothing but kind and supportive of me during my time at Daily Wire. And that is a fact. I just won't do it. And if you have a problem with any...
Now again, virtue signal. I would never do that. Just don't do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, influencers, we are just the worst class of people, right? We're the worst class because we can never do a good thing and not record it. We just can't. It's impossible. It's impossible. We're like, ooh, let me grab my phone. Ooh, we can't.
That's fine. That is your prerogative. It simply means that we have different values. And guess what? It is a free country. That is the beauty of...
My values are awesome. You're suck, assholes. Now, again, this is women coming into a male space and then trying to virtue signal instead of doing their job. They're saying, what's your take on this? And she's like, I won't talk shit about them. You're a commentator. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying throw them under the bus, but at times, you got to disagree. We'll actually go over that too. So I'm going to do an essay video, and it's going to actually eviscerate Matt Walsh. But I wanted to show another example of virtue signaling because Matt Walsh, so recently I did an essay video talking about how the Daily Wire does lie. They're either stupid or they're lying about marriage. Okay. They're because the stats do not back up that marriage is better necessarily for men. And they really want it. People, when they have an ego belief in religion, they have a very hard time seeing the forest through the trees. Nothing against religion, but when, men are killing themselves because they got married, part of my French, it rubs me the wrong way when you're a little bit deceptive about what marriage is. So recently he reposted a video attacking me. I don't know why, Matt, I don't know why you couldn't just make a new video. I mean, that's just lazy. But he reposted a video from a few years ago when we were having this discussion. Here we go. And the laziness really irritated me. It really did. So we're going to go here.
I've seen plenty of power banks over my 15 years of reviewing.
My bad. I gotta wait.
Successful, of course. It's just not something that's as scalable as we as a society are trying to pretend it is. Marriage is like the lottery. Probably not going to win.
I've spent a lot of time in my career defending the institution of marriage, and I defend it because it's the bedrock of civilization, so it deserves defending, and I defend it because it's under constant attack, so it needs defending. And one of the most troubling developments in recent years, which we've discussed on this show in the past, is that these attacks are increasingly waged not just from the left, but from certain noisy segments of the right as well. Some right-wing influencers with legions of young, mostly male fans have decided that men should abandon marriage. And
so now again, a lot of right-wing people, they don't know how to exist without lecturing people on how to live. I really, I make my stance very clear. People have the right to their hell. And what you get is a lot of people are very neurotic. Like they're always worrying about what's going to go wrong and they want to control the universe. And so you get a lot of neurotic people going to religion because they want to control the world, and you can't. You cannot. Let me continue.
Family life and go their own way. And these influencers, many of whom consider themselves a part of the so-called red pill movement, pretend to despise feminists and yet have essentially arrived at the...
But here's the thing. We're all feminists. All of us. Me, him, Matt. You constantly put your family in the public eye on the internet when you do the type of content that you do. So I actually am okay in saying this because you put it out there. How did you have multiple twins? How did your wife magically have multiple twins in her 30s? Do you expect me to believe that you're worth $1 bajillion and you guys didn't use IVF? That's feminism. Most people have used feminism in some way. Did you meet your wife at 18? No, you met her at 28.
Same conclusion as feminists, which is that we should give up on the family. The two sides hate marriage almost as much as they hate.
And the way he's going to phrase it is they hate family. Well, I say, screw you. You hate family. You hate family because you want men to be put like pussified at home, to be honest. Because men cannot be in traditional relationships in this society. Well, you claim to be pushing, they can't even have, because women will always have the leverage. And people always act differently when one party has the leverage.
Each other. Now, one of these influencers is a woman named Pearl Davis, who has garnered a relatively large following on YouTube and various social media platforms. She's in her mid-20s, single and childless, and yet full of opinions about modern marriage and family life, a subject that she has no personal insight into whatsoever. She spent the past few days on the internet complaining about quote-unquote tradcons like myself, who she says promote the nuclear family despite not understanding what it's really like. Yes, we men who actually have wives and children.
Yeah, and so what he's going to do is he's going to use his family. This is what they do. They claim to care so much about their family, right? But if you cared so much about your family, why do you use them to make you look like a good person? Why don't you just be a good person on your own? Why do you have to use your family to win arguments? Why are you bringing your family into debate? Seriously, if you care so much about them, where is the action? And that's what they don't that's what this influencer class of people, they drive me nuts because you say you care so much about your family. Why on earth are you bringing them in to your fight with trans people? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's all Christianity is. Shoving in everyone's face how much of a good person you are. Like I'll even hear people, they'll say, I don't even want to know what your religion is. I don't want to know. I should be able to tell based on how you act. I don't even tell me. Okay.
Children don't know what it's like to be married, but a woman who is not married and has no children does know what it's like. In one of her tweets, she wrote,
What percent of your audience is female, Matt? Because what I'm describing more accurately paints a picture, because you have a female audience, you have the female dollar behind you. I don't. Women don't, except for like the 2 that watch my show. They don't support me. I got demonetized for 2 years. I didn't have a big company backing me up. And because the Daily Wire wants to get paid by women, because they know if they can tap into a female audience, they get more money. Everyone knows it. Everybody in media knows it. You know, they're always going to shelter the reality of marriage because they have to appeal to a young base. And they're liars. They're lying. They're either super ignorant or lying. And I don't know how he could get to the age he is and not know. I got kicked off of everything. I had to stop my show. You know, I didn't have a cushy job at the Daily Wire. By the way, these people kicked a person out because she said Christ is king. I actually don't believe that was why they kicked her out. Candace did a great job manipulating the narrative. I was team DW versus Candace. Like, okay, imagine if I hired a black person and they started talking shit about white people. Am I going to fund that? No, you're fired. He's an idealist and I'm a realist. Yeah, and he's the man. Isn't that sad? Isn't that sad? Isn't that sad?
Oh, the tradcons push marriage because they aren't old enough to know better. They don't know the reality of what they're pushing. This is a company.
Yeah, because most men don't see divorce coming.
By a picture of myself, Ben Shapiro, Michael Knowles. We aren't old enough to know better and don't know the reality of what we're pushing, yet a woman who is younger than us and single does know better and does understand this reality. Another post, she goes on to say that marriage is...
Again, then he starts attacking me. You know, again, it's like these Christian people. I didn't attack him. I didn't. I said he doesn't understand the reality of what he's pushing. Men commit suicide to this, Matt. Yeah, go fuck yourself. I've seen men that are on the brink of suicide. And when you push that, you might not know it, but you're sending men to their death. Screw you if you don't think that's important to be accurate about that stuff. Screw you if you don't think it's good to talk about, or screw you if you don't think it's relevant to talk about the risks. Screw you for being dishonest about these numbers. I actually do understand it better than you. You follow like 20 bajillion topics. You got married to one woman. I've seen how this thing plays out in the long haul. Not everybody is an elitist, right? Not everybody is a high-class person living in a silver tower. Like, people with money have different choices, but you have no idea how bad a divorce hits a middle American, like the middle class men. They get it the worst. You know, the upper class men, they recover because they can afford lawyers, but it's the men that can't, and they're funding their wife divorcing them. Is it true that men are suicidal from divorce? Yeah.
A terrible deal for men. And she later explains, quote, would you ever sign a contract that fails 75% of the time where your business partner is paid to break the contract? Why would you encourage men to sign that contract until the terms are fixed?
If no one ever taught you how to manage your money, or you're secretly ashamed of where you're at financially.
All right, screw you, free financial literacy course.
You may be surprised to learn that marriages fail at a rate of 75%.
Yeah, and now he's going to belittle it. Okay, we want to talk about the numbers, Matt. Let's talk about them. 45% divorce rate. On top of that, most women gain 80% of women gain 30 pounds in the first 5 years of marriage. A quarter of marriages are sexless. And most people believe that that number is a lot higher. Most women lead the relationships. Most women are in charge. That's why we have phrases like happy wife, happy life. And you can gaslight men, but they're not stupid. They're going to see this. I have it in a folder, but I can actually break down, and I'm going to do a video on this, breaking down if there's 100 marriages, what your odds are of each thing happening. Yeah, even if the divorce odds are 1 in 3, which he'll claim, not 3 in 4, it's still more risky than Russian roulette. Look, we all know if you include, out of the people that stay together, if you include sexless marriages, if you include wives that got obscenely fat, if you include bitchy wives, we know it's more than 50%.
The figure that people like this normally use is 50%. And the claim that 50% of marriages end in divorce is already spurious, and we'll have more on that in a moment. But
yeah, because you didn't think through it, because your stupid writers do everything for you.
75%? I was wondering where that number came from, so I scrolled down and I saw something that she reposted from an alleged lawyer who said this, quote, "It's not 50-50. That only accounts for divorces. Another 25% on the negative side for miserable men trapped in cheaper to keep her marriages, unwilling to risk financial destruction and loss of their children. 75% chance of a devastatingly bad outcome is just a bad plan. No sane person would enter into a commercial contract on such terms." Now, I did ask him where he got this 75% figure from.
And the worst part is they have such big egos. Like, it's just turned into this Jesus rock star like bullshit. They just use the religion to get as much attention and clout as possible. Guys, I have a whole video breaking down the actual divorce rates. It's called How Conservatives Are Lying to You About Marriage. If you want to see it, go there.
And he wouldn't say. Apparently, the magic statistic fairy came and whispered it in his ear.
And that's a liberal tactic, right? He's going into it in bad faith, where he's saying, "Oh, you're just lying. You're just making this stuff up." Well, if that's what you think, why would we even have a discussion? All the men getting divorced, Matt, really? The whole red pill is just making this up. Really?
Here. Now, for her part, Pearl later tweeted a picture of Pierce Brosnan with his wife of 20 years, and she questioned whether the marriage counts as successful since Brosnan's wife has put on some weight at the age of 60. So apparently, even...
Yeah, and now he's going to white knight. Yes, ladies, get fat. Do it. Gain a bunch of weight. Men love that.
If they're happy and have remained married for 2 decades...
How do you know they're happy?
They still might fall into that 75% failure rate because they have not both remained in supermodel condition into their 60s. This debate on social media brought out the rest of the marriage skeptical crowd on the right. A bunch of these red pill influencers decided to hop on an emergency Zoom call and spend 2 hours talking about me and the rest of the Daily Wire crew and our reckless promotion of society's most fundamental institution. Now, there's one clip here that you should see. This is apparently a divorce lawyer who says that the failure rate for marriage is not 50% and it's not 75%. It is, in fact, even higher. Listen.
I think marriage can be successful, of course. It's just not something that's as scalable as we as a society are trying to pretend it is. Marriage is, and I've said this 100 times and I'll say it 100 more, marriage is like the lottery. You are probably not going to win. Okay, you're probably not going to win. Don't make that your 401k. You're probably not going to win. But if you win, what you win.
Okay, and that's the ego. And this is what I really cannot stand about traditional conservatives. They are just not pragmatic at all. Every conservative thinks they are above the numbers. They all think they won't be statistics. If everyone else is getting 30-year-old women that are giving them 1, maybe 2 children, what do you think your wife is most likely going to be? Most people are going to be single parents. If most people are getting divorced and not staying together, what do you think your future is probably going to be? And there's this cope, I'll be different. I'll be special. Why do you have such a big ego to think that you're different or special? Seriously. Why? Why would you not have the same results as everyone else? Yeah, here we go.
Is so great that I don't blame you for buying a ticket and trying. I personally don't buy lottery tickets. But when somebody says, yeah, I played the lottery, hey man, somebody's got to win. And you know what? As long as you're not blowing money that you need for food or to put shoes on your kids' feet, you're not hurting anybody. Go out, give it a try. So I always tell people, listen, marriage, when it works, when you have somebody who's married 20 plus years and they're still crazy about each other, that is the exception, not the rule. But
That's
when you
crazy.
do it, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. So why not buy the ticket, take the ride, but have a prenup? Wear a seatbelt, guys. You can be a safe driver, but wear a seatbelt.
So a happy marriage, he says, is like winning the lottery. And the thing about the lottery is that almost everybody loses. This is a perfect summation of how this entire club views marriage and the message that they're sending to young men in particular. Sure, it can be great, they concede, but only if you're insanely lucky. Everybody else is screwed. This is a rather bleak view of marriage, and thankfully, it's also nonsense. First of all, the claim that marriage isn't scalable is obviously ridiculous because marriage has served as the bedrock of human society since time immemorial.
Yeah, and as soon as people got the option to opt out, they did. Again, I don't really care what people say. And again, that's the issue you get with traditional conservatives. A lot of times they go off of what the woman says. I go off of what people do. Again, if it was that great, why did everybody opt out the first second they got? Seriously. Seriously, that's my question. Why?
It has already happened at the scale of civilization for thousands of years. Now the divorce lawyers come along and say that, this thing that society's been doing forever, turns out it doesn't work.
So the next way conservatives manipulate you, okay, is Ellie, is they use history as a way to paint what's not going to happen in your lifetime. So what they'll do is they'll say, well, this movement's going to happen because at this time in history it worked. Well, it's like, hold on, she's got to go. She's got to go. So what they'll do is they'll say, oh, well, 100 years ago, we propagated women back. And I'm like, well, let's look outside. It's like, imagine if you're going to make a decision as a business, because really, in a way, you should kind of look at your time, your resources, your energy as a business. You only have so much of it. So if you came to a business owner, right, and you said, all right, make this decision. The business owner would say, okay, well, has anyone else made this decision? How did it go for them? They're like, well, half of them, it didn't work out, and a quarter are sexless and fat. 25% chance of it working. And then if you take the risk, well, it's probably not going to work. And business owners take risks all the time where they know they're not going to make their money back, but they know. Right? But imagine if that person went to the business owner and said, well, 100 years ago, this worked. And the business owner would say, okay, does that work today? And the business owner And the investor said, well, no, but I swear 100 years ago, the business owner would say, well, I don't care. And I'm not saying that history doesn't repeat itself, but we cannot predict how the future is going to go. You never can. So it takes a big ego to believe you can really predict how the next 100 years are going to go. I don't know. I can't say. Based on what I see now, I could tell you what I think may happen, but who knows? But they'll say, well, 100 years ago this worked. Well, Matt, today it's not working. So now what?
Unless you're the 1 in a million. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous claim. Now, what about the failure rate of marriages in our culture? We've heard 50%, we've heard 75%. We just heard that they fail at a rate similar to the rate that people lose the lottery, which would mean higher than 99%, a lot higher. Yet, these kinds of astronomical odds are not based in anything but the doom and gloom speculations of the people inventing them. There is no evidence that having a happy marriage is as unlikely as winning the lottery, or that 75% of marriages end in misery. And what about the 50% number? Well, this is at least is a familiar statistic. It's something that you've probably heard before. 50% of marriages end in divorce.
Oh my God, this tastes so good. You guys hit it out the park.
Well, thank you. It's because it's different. It's fermented.
It's familiar, but it is bogus. And one way you know that it's bogus is that people have been claiming that 50% of marriages end in divorce since I was a kid. I've been hearing that my whole life. And that would mean that divorce rates are static across time. But of course, that isn't the case. In fact, we know that divorce rates have gone down in recent years.
Okay, let's see. Divorce rate from 1950. We all know why it's gone down to present. Okay. So again, it's so dishonest what they do. So the divorce rate's gone down from 22 divorces per 1,000 women to 20. So what they'll do is when it's stayed relatively stagnant, they'll just zoom in a lot to make it look like there was a big change. So let me go back.
So where does the 50% figure come from? Apparently it's a holdover from the 1980s, which is when people first started citing that statistic. It's not true today. And it's actually not clear that it was true even in the 80s either. So what is the actual divorce rate? It's a little bit hard to determine. Probably our best guess is based on U.S. Census data, which according to the most recent figures says that about 35% of American adults who have been married have been divorced. So it's not
who have been married have been divorced. Okay, hold on.
Not exactly going to give us a precisely scientific figure of what the divorce rate is, but
so
it's as close as we're.
They'll conveniently pick the lowest number. I think this is without including second marriages. I have to look into it more. But I made an essay video debunking like half of the stats they use. I'll put this in the next
We're going to get 35%. And 35% is high. I mean, it's way too high. It's not 50%, though. And it's not 7.
Okay, let me go here. They're so cooked. Wait, let me keep going. Let me play it more.
75%, and it's not 99%. And it's definitely not lottery odds. Still, isn't it terrifying to think that if you get married, your chance of failure is 35%, and the chance of success is only 65% at the most?
Okay, this is and the conservatives cite the source all the time. About 40% of today's marriages will end in divorce. Do you guys think that's a selling point? Oh my God. Okay.
Isn't it high enough that it should dissuade
Okay.
anyone from attempting it? The answer to that question is no.
Kill yourself anyway. I mean, that's essentially what they're saying. Okay, so whatever. I don't need to hear Matt virtue signal. You have IVF kids. All right, leave me alone. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Okay. So today I want to get into the meat of the topic, though. I just saw that with Matt Walsh, and I was like, here he goes. So I kind of wanted to make this like a group show where we can kind of all bounce together. I have like a Google Doc here. I want to talk about, I love you, Pearl, says Cool Beer. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. I love you too, you know. So I want to talk about the ways women virtue signal. And the number one way is they say not all women are like that. And that is to imply that they, as a woman, are not like that, even though they have thrown it back for somebody. I don't know who. I don't know where. I don't know why. But I'm not dumb. I'm not as dumb as these simps, okay? Now, again, purity is something that can be felt. So I don't get pure vibes from a single right-wing e-girl, except maybe Bryson's wife. Bryson Gray's wife. I think that's the only one I felt some innocence from. And even she could have thrown it back. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, respectfully, I don't know what she was doing, you know, before she met him. All right. So purity is something that can be felt. And there are certain things that disqualify you from getting to claim purity. And what happens is women violate one of the guidelines and still want to claim purity. Now, I'm going to list some things that I have observed. Number one, divorced. You cannot be pure in any way if you are divorced. Married over 22. Fake boobs. Heavy makeup. Kids by different men. Please don't convince me your body count is 2 if you have 2 baby daddies. I don't believe you. I don't. I do not. Now, what every right-wing e-girl is trying to signal is I have less than 5 bodies. 5 bodies is like the new virgin of 2025. Isn't that sad? Isn't that kind of sad? Lip filler. Thank you for that. And so that's always what they want to signal. So they just say, oh, I've only had sex in long-term relationships. And I just look at them, and especially if they're right-wing e-girls, I just think you're not hot enough to have a 100% callback rate. I don't believe you. I don't think every guy you slept with called you back or was interested long-term. I just don't. There's other women, you know, they'll have fake boobs and then try to claim purity. You got fake tits. Do you know what I mean? It's like, chest tattoos. Yeah, I'm just going to put tattoos in general. You could probably get away with a butterfly tattoo. I hate that I have to say this, but OnlyFans. Plastic surgery. Old. Being old. No one cares if grandma's not throwing it back. You know what I mean? It's like at that point. Okay. Purity is something. So ways women signal. So, here's another one. If you lived in a major city or went to a big university. If you lived alone, who's going to verify you weren't hoeing? You know what I mean? Like who's going to verify this? Now, the next pushback I get from conservative women is they and I got this on a show I was on the other day. And this woman said women are just brainwashed. And this is I'm not going to say the group, but anybody that follows this stuff. Everybody says women are brainwashed by Jays. I'm not going to say what it is. I mean, And this is just such a dumb concept that women are brainwashed into doing this. And I want to think through all of the decisions women have to make in order to be career women or to be whores. Men have made it so actually easy for women to get married and have children if that's what we want to do. You can download a dating app and get thousands of matches. Now, the next thing that the conservatives will say, hey, well, women can't meet men on dating apps. Well, why not? If they work, are we trying to do what works or what sounds good? We can't have both here. So, we download the dating app. And if you want at 18, instead of going to college, you can go to the community college, download a dating app, and find a guy to marry. But we choose to go to big universities and big cities. And it's because it's fun and exciting. And, I just went to a movie in the park in a big city. It's fun. And a lot of times what happens is the conservatives, they love to white knight. And usually it's sexually inexperienced men who have not been the side dude, so they don't really know. They don't know the women claiming purity have a side dude, right? Or women that have a past and want to virtue signal by saying they were brainwashed. I'm getting a little tired. I started the show too late today. Okay. Let me show this. Let me show this video. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Oh, my share screen is on the other one.
After the suffering instead of becoming hard from it, because a lot of
do you know how diabolical this is? You have a Jesus cross out with your boobs out, and I have to believe this. If I don't believe this girl, then I'm the bad guy. Let me look at her thing.
He said, to me, slavery.
So you're saying as a married woman, I should be willing to give up my career for my family?
Boobs out is diabolical. Diabolical. And if you go back, you'll see. Here's one right-wing e-girl. Let's look up a few right-wing e-girls' Instagrams. This will be fun. We'll go through them. Yeah, here's another. So again, the right-wing e-girls claim they care about their kids, but do they give the kids and the family privacy? No. Wedding picture. Baby. They're always going to use their family to build their brand, right? I'm not saying that's wrong, but it's not traditional. It's not. No. Brett's actually always been okay with the modesty stuff. Okay, where else are we going? But Stucky. Here's another one, Allie Beth Stucky. God damn. You're doing a low cut top with a Jesus necklace? All of the husbands kind of look like this. They look like wife guys. You can kind of see it. Damn. And so really though, my whole point is I just would love to see the right-wing e-girls done with the virtue signaling and just admit that we're all whores. Okay. Now, I know what you're saying. You're saying Pearl, but it doesn't mean they're whores, right? Well, let's go through definitions here. Let's be autistic at this level. Historically, women were with one man for life. Now women are with multiple men. So if you didn't lose your virginity to your husband, you're just a whore playing pretend, really. I mean, I just want us to say it and admit it and accept it all together. I just want, when you think about it, if you have a public profile, there's men jacking off to you. And now, oh my God, and then they put their kids on the internet. But seriously, so in a way, by having an internet profile, you're kind of a whore. Everybody. And that's why I think we should just get to the, first there's the denial. Not all women are like that. What are the stages of grief? Let me look these up. Denial. Not all women are like that. Anger. I can't believe you're saying that, Pearl. You just hate women. Bargaining. Well, just because I didn't lose my virginity to my husband, that doesn't make me a whore. I could still wear white. Depression. Well, maybe I am a whore. Acceptance. Yep. Right-wing e-girls. We're whores. Whores. Nagging other people's husbands. That's whoring, I would say. That might be worse. I might take the OnlyFans. At least the husbands are the people subscribed to OnlyFans are simps, right? Okay, who's next? We got put a right-wing e-girl in the chat. No, you know what? And I think I speak about putting kids on the internet because growing up, oh my God, I was my mother's Facebook brand. It was terrible. And it was like every vacation, it was a million photos. All these random people always knew what we were doing. It was so annoying, guys. It was such a lack of privacy. So I can tell you firsthand, this is not fun for the family or the kids. Anna, that Star Wars girl. Yeah, 304s are the natural state of women. A wife is an artificial creation of civilization that comes to be with laws and authority, not by magic. Yeah, alphas understand the true nature of women because they've seen it. They've been that guy. Betas are men that want to believe it, right? They just can't let the lie. They can't give up on the lie. But that's why we had to, enforce this. No, right-wing e-girls, I have sweatshirts for us. I do. We belong to the streets too. Anna, what's her name? Anna Kasparian. I don't think she claims purity, but she got married late. Candace Owens, that's another one. You're not really going to convince me you're pure when, you lived in a big city. But again, purity, it's not even really necessarily about body count, because I've met some virgins allegedly that were some stuck-up bitches. It's really a demeanor that you get with it. It's like an attitude, and it's something that you feel. And that's why the right-wing e-girls have to go get baptized. They have to join churches. They have to make it part of their brand. And it's because they're making up for the fact that they're not it. What are the ways that women virtue signal? Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. Okay, Lauren Chen, she's a pure-based Asian queen. No, she didn't lose her virginity to her husband. You guys got to stop putting your belief in these e-girls. Lauren Chen, why'd she wait a decade to have a kid? If she was so excited to have her husband's kid, she would have had it right away. Conservatives got to stop lying that they love their kids that much. It's very obvious they don't, because they plaster them online to build their brand. Like, you're supposed to benefit. You are supposed to be there to benefit your children, not your children to benefit you. Chrissy Meyer. Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, Chrissy Meyer got a buzzer beater baby. Everyone got mad at me when I said that. But she's always saying, "Oh, I'm married, I'm married, I'm married." Why don't you just act married? Oh, and I'm fairly sure she puts her tits out. How do I spell her last name? And then, do you know what's the worst part? I'll pray for you. That is the worst virtue signal. Just please go fuck yourself. Instead of saying that you'll pray for me, please just F off. You could just take your prayers and shove them. Oh, actually, I just thought of someone else. Hold on. I saw this clip, and I'm just thinking, who are you fooling lately? Okay, here we go. Let me put this here.
This, I really don't have a secret trick. If you really want to get a lot of play on Hinge, dye your hair blonde. Okay, this is my first photo. I get, oh my god, Sabrina Carpenter to this all the time. So something that grabs their attention. The way to win me over is biceps. Like, I'm not funny on here, guys, I swear. This is my next photo. I like to include my hot friends so that men with hot friends will like me and be like, oh my god, let's go on a double date. Next photo, you always have to include a mirror pic on there, and also like mirror pics are so fire because you can see exactly what you look like and you can perfect what you look like.
All of these women who are constantly announcing that they don't want attention from you are going above and beyond every minute, every second of the day to get attention from you so that they can reject most of you and feel good about themselves.
Like, Jedediah, what were you doing for 20 years in New York City? That's my question. Do you really like expect me to believe you didn't bang 5 dudes, 10 dudes? I'd put Jedediah's body count because she doesn't come off as like soft, right? 30. I'd say she's had 30. That would be my guess.
And feel hot and feel like I have all these options and
maybe 50. Sorry.
Then shit all over you. That.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, saying I'll pray for you is a snarky way of saying I have so much I could say about you, but I'm going to be a good person and show everyone how good I am. Converting to a religion publicly and making it their entire personality. The fucking Morgan Mary girl's the worst. She calls herself the Virgin Mary, bro. Like, lady, do you think all men are beta simps who believe you? Lady, they can say their stories. I don't. This is where you guys get caught. You guys hear these stories and you just believe them. I don't believe you didn't have sex for like 20 years. I just don't. I don't like. I care about the action. What age did you get married? How many children did you have? Do you have a public profile on the internet? Those are my qualifications. Plug the hoodie. Well, I'd have to re-get it. So I need a lot of, if you want me to bring these out again, I have to buy a certain amount and then ship them out. So you guys would have to really promise me you'll buy them. You know what I mean? I need to, maybe I can like pre-order. And if we get enough, then I'll do it again. Charm is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. None of these women fear God with enough grift. Is she on the internet? Does she have Instagram? Did she give it up when she had children? Anyways, it's just tiring. So I just wanted to rant for like an hour today. Sorry, guys. I'm about to take a trip, so I've been getting some things in order before I leave. So you'll have to excuse me if I'm a little all over the place this week. I guess it's a good time to end because it's glitching out. Okay. Well, I just want the e-girls to know that I'm on your ass. I don't believe any of you. We're going to start doing Hofax shows. Yeah, so my main thing, guys, is don't believe these women. Like Brett Cooper accepted a Fox News job after she had the kid. She posted the kid on the internet. That's my other question. Are you posting your family online? Jedediah married at 40. Half of these women have their tits out with a Jesus necklace on. It's just tiring. Anyways, guys, I'm tired. Thanks for watching. Like the video and I'll see you next time.